Hey everybody, we're out here at Auburn Oaks Farm in the beautiful quail fields they have on property, and today we are finally getting our dogs in the field with some beginner bird work. So prior to getting this dog in the field, we've done a couple things. One, we've been working on our fundamentals, okay? Big time recall, because if you have a good recall on a dog, you essentially have control over them. If I can get this dog to my person whenever I say the command, then I essentially have control over them. And that is huge when you're starting bird work, because he's gonna be ramped up a lot more. The adrenaline's gonna be pumping a lot more out here in the field when he starts to understand there's birds out here than in the yard where we have been practicing. So what we're doing is transitioning from the yard to the field with those fundamentals. We're gonna keep up the fundamentals, right? He's also done a little bit of heel work, so we're gonna keep on applying that in the field too. I'm gonna make him heel before I release him into the field to start searching for birds. Okay, so the two big things that we wanted to check off with him before we got him into the field and before you get your dog into the field is a bird intro and a gun intro, okay? So those are two big check marks you have to have off the list before you start doing beginner field work. But we've got that down. He's got all those elements and he's ready to finally get out in the field and start understanding what he was born to do. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a couple of birds out in this field. We have a good bit of space out here, so we can put 2 birds out or 3 birds out or really however many birds we want. And what you're gonna wanna do is space them out so that there is a good bit of distance in between each bird, so that your dog is nosing up one bird and then has a good bit of hunting before he finds that second bird. If you have a set amount of space, not a ton of room to work with, go ahead and just do singles, okay? Put one bird out in the field and then let your dog run on that bird, put your dog back in the truck or dog box, and then set out another bird and do another run, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. We do it all the time. But for this dog, we're gonna go ahead and put probably 2 birds out, spaced out far enough for him to just nose one up, get a lot of hunting in before, and find another one. And what that tells him is there are multiple birds out in the field, so don't stop hunting because you'll find another one. So keep on hunting and you'll find another one, right? Okay, let's get some birds and let's get to it. So we're gonna come back here and get some quail out of this box here. Let's see, there's one, good. And there's a certain technique I use to put these out so that when the dog finds the bird, it can still fly off. Okay, we got 2. We got a bob and we got a hen. All right, like I said before, you wanna start, you do wanna start relatively close so the dog gets what we're doing out here quickly, but then you wanna distance that other bird out a good bit. And a big part of beginner field work and just training in general is setting your dog up for success. So what I'm gonna do here is walk up here into the wind, okay? And what I'm gonna do is lead the dog back up into this wind, right? And I'm dizzying the bird up, just dizzying it up. And this way, when I put the bird down, it's not gonna be able to fly away at first, but when we come back, it will be lively enough for when the dog jumping in there, it will fly off, right? When the dog jumps in on the bird, it will be able to fly off. And this is the same routine I do for a flushing dog or a pointing dog, okay? For a gun dog or a bird dog, it's the same thing, right? You're just putting birds out here in the field and you're letting genetics take over in the beginning before you start shaping them up to your objectives. However steady you want them to be, if you want the flusher to sit after they flush, I like mine just burning through and flushing up birds and getting on after the ones I shot. But it's all about owner objectives, what you want out of your dog. So we're getting a good little bit of distance away from that first bird, and we're gonna go ahead, come down this lane. Again, we're gonna lead this dog up into the wind so it can easily scent the bird and get a good understanding of what it's doing out here, right? I just want it to nose up birds. This happens to be a pointing dog, a GWP, German wire-haired pointer. I don't care if he goes on point at all. I just want him to be nosing up birds in the air. One thing we are gonna do during this session of beginner bird work is we're gonna start falling birds. We're gonna start shooting birds for this dog because in the past, he has just been exposed to a loud noise, meaning nothing, right? It's not positive, it's not negative, it's just nothing. It's a loud noise. This right here, you starting to shoot birds while he's watching them, right? Don't shoot a bird if he's looking the other way because he's not gonna know what that loud noise means. When he's watching or chasing a bird and it's at the appropriate shot height, head height or higher, we're gonna go ahead and fall that bird. And that's where it becomes positive. That's where that loud bang starts to become a positive thing for that dog because they realize, boom, dead bird, I can get that bird in my mouth, okay? So we're gonna start falling birds for this dog during this first session, second session, and all throughout beginner bird work, okay? We're gonna stop falling birds once we start to either steady them up or control that flusher a little bit more. So, but at first, we're gonna fall birds to make that bang a positive sound. All right, let's go get the dog out and have some fun. All right, so we're back here at the trailer. We've got our dog in here. His name is Boot. He is a GWP, a German wire-haired pointer. He's 10 months old, lots of puppy, lots of energy, lots of go, and it's what I love to see out of a dog at this stage. Remember, what we're doing here is the same for a gun dog, a flush retriever, or a bird dog, a pointing breed, right? A pointer retriever, right? I like all my pointing dogs to retrieve. You've heard that before, but they are still a bird dog if they're a pointing breed, in my opinion. We've got our shotgun and we've got our check cord right here. So this dog has not seen birds in the field yet, but it has been in the field with a check cord on. This is something that is very beneficial for young dogs before you put them on birds. Get them out in a field that looks like the habitat you're going to hunt, put a check cord on them, and just get them used to dragging a check cord through the field. Because again, this is a 40-foot check cord or something like that, long distance check cord, so I can maintain control over that dog a little bit better than I could without it, okay? And we're teaching without an e-collar because they need to have an understanding of what they're doing while we teach them manually before we can put an e-collar on rather, and teach them with that by reinforcing you know, whatever they've learned in the past. But get your young dogs out in the field, let them run through it with the check cord, get them used to dragging a check cord confidently out in the field before you're doing some bird work, okay? So now I don't have to worry about him being a little bit shy with this cord on while we're getting birds, okay? He's very confident in pulling this around and it won't be a problem, and he won't have anything deterring him from finding this bird, okay? From finding these two birds. We have two birds out here right now. All right, let's get to it, guys. Enough talk. So we're gonna focus and keep all the fundamental work that we've been working on. We're gonna keep that up and apply it out in this field situation right now. High intensity, a lot of adrenaline going in this dog, and you'll see that real quick here. Good, we're gonna make him stay in here. Good boy, we're gonna get his eye boogies off him. Yeah, nobody likes eye boogies, do they? Okay, good. Hold him right here. Until I release him, I don't want him going, right? So we're gonna say his name is his release. Boot. Good boy. Okay, buddy. Yeah, go get the camera. Go get the camera. Okay, so there's a couple ways you can do this. You can either hold the rope and let them tug you around the field. I recommend that if you don't trust your dog yet with recall, or you can just let them go and have that rope for a fail-safe if they're not recalling very well. Once they get on a bird and start chasing a bird, you might as well not even give them a recall in that moment because you're wasting your breath. Their adrenaline's gonna be so high, he's ready to go right now. They're gonna be chasing that bird so hard, they're not even gonna hear you, right? They're not gonna respond to you. So you can either let them tug you around, there's no problem with that. I do it for a lot of dogs. This dog, I have a really good recall on him so far. So that check cord is mostly gonna be there for just a fail safe for me to get onto it if he's not listening very well. Good boy, heel. That's what I like to see. He just wants to run out here right now. Heel. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and release him. Boot. All right, so we're moving through the field. Moving through the field, we're watching him. Okay, it looks like he smelled scent right there, leading him up into the wind. Let's see it, let's see it. And we're not moving him into the bird. We're letting him build confidence and find that bird himself. Look at that. Oh, we got a little point. Look at that dog. Jumped in, okay, he's chasing, boom. The bird is down. And so I'm gonna get on the end of this check cord because we have not even started fetch with him yet, but we just want him. I'm gonna put the gun by my side. Good boy, here. Recall him in. Good boy, here. And that is great. Didn't care about the shotgun at all. Has the bird, and he brought it to me, okay? Not necessarily brought it to me, but we were able to recall him and then tug him in with the check cord. That was great, okay? Repetition, consistency, and time, he will bring that bird right to me, okay? We are gonna put him through a big, long fetch process so that he knows what fetch means. We'll say fetch, he'll pick it up, bring it to us, to our heel eventually. Isn't that pretty cool? And then he'll drop it when we say drop into our hand. But right now, that's about as good as it gets. I was not expecting to see a point off the bat. That's incredible. That's awesome. Don't be discouraged if your dog doesn't point or has a really good flush off the bat. It doesn't mean anything. We're out here for these dogs to just get a sense of what they're doing, okay? Oftentimes, they're not gonna slam point right off the bat like that. Now, what he did there, I like to call a flash point. He paused, For a minute, he smelled some strong scent right there because he does know what a bird is. He's been through the bird introduction. Smelled some strong scent, went on point real quick, flash pointed, and then jumped in there at the bird. And since he was chasing that bird, we shot it, got it in one shot, didn't even hear the shot, went right to the bird, picked it up, and I was able to recall him in for a good little retrieve from him. He has some chomping issues, but we're gonna get to that during our fetch process. All right, so now what we're gonna do is send him on again and go to the next bird and repeat, okay? Wash, rinse, repeat. Just give him the exposure he needs to start realizing that there's birds out here and he's a hunting dog, okay? He's a hunting fool. You ready? Boot. Good boy. He's gonna go back to where that bird fell. Yeah, good. Boot, here. So we're gonna start pushing him up this way. And what we're doing is we're coming to the left of the birds. The birds are all up to my right over here and to his right. And what we're gonna do is try to lead him into the wind just like that one. That worked out perfectly. You can use your recall whistle, work on recall out here. Good, if he needs to stop and take a potty break, that is more than okay. Here, good. Recall in the field just means come my way and hunt where I'm moving. Oh, look at that. Look at that. He is pointed right here, okay? And I'm just waiting. I know he's gonna jump in, yep, because he's a young dog and it does not know to stay steady yet. There it goes, there's the bird. Okay, we're not gonna shoot that because my camera girl was behind me, but that's all right. So ultimately, him seeing that bird fly off, I could have shot there just in the air and not hit the bird, that's fine. He did so well on the shot on that first bird that if I shot in the air and he was still seeing the bird fly off, that's okay, right? And now we're just waiting for him to come back. Young dogs usually always come back to the place the bird was flushed from originally, and he came close enough to that. But in a minute here, we'll recall him, we'll go put him back in the trailer, put a couple more birds out for him, and do it again. Guys, beginner bird work is all about just starting to get exposure for your pup and letting genetics take over. You saw how genetics took over there and he already pointed the bird, right? After very little bird experience in the past, right? Just the bird introduction and that first bird right there. He pointed the bird really quickly, flash pointed, and then jumped in there. Just like your flusher might, you know, whiz past that scent, then come back a little slower and then jump in there, right? Before they start burning in there every time. Same process for a flushing dog or a pointing dog, just putting birds out in the field and letting them get some experience. Boot, here. That's right, he's going back to that same spot that bird was at. Young dogs love to get back in that scent. Trying to catch it. Boot, here. Good boy. All right, buddy, let's go back. We'll put you up and we'll get a couple more birds out for you, I promise, okay? All right, everybody, thanks a ton. That is beginner bird work. This is what you do before you start shaping them up to your objectives, right? You're just out here to give the dog as much experience as you can in terms of finding birds and figuring out what they were bred to do, okay? What they were born to do. If you have a gun dog, again, same deal. You're out here putting birds out, spacing them out, letting that flusher flush them up and retrieve them if you can. Have a check cord on them all the same, because you saw on the first rep we did, we had to bring that dog back to us, okay? Check cord on the dog, birds out in different areas of the field so it gives them a little bit of hunt in between. If you need to do singles, put one out, take your dog back to the box, and then put another one out and do the same thing, okay? And go through it again. If you have the area to spread your birds out, then that's awesome, you know, do that. We have plenty of space here. Auburn Oaks Farm is a great place for us to train. We are so thankful for being here, and you know, given all the amazing quail habitat we have out here, we produce some really good dogs, and we couldn't do it without their help, right? So having land access is a big part of this deal. Talk to somebody you know with land, or a farmer, a local farmer or whatnot. See if you can get some access somewhere, because a big part of this, go to the national forest. You know, a big part of this process is having land for your dog to run through, especially having the habitat for them to hunt in, to build their, you know, build their confidence up. But right now, we just did beginner bird work. We're gonna shape them up later to our objectives once they start firming up with their skills. But until then, we're just out here to give them experience. Thanks, guys.